Hi, welcome back everyone. I'm John Muschalek with HilltopSecurities, and I'm back with Tom Kozlik, Managing Director and Head of Public Policy and Municipal Strategy for Hilltop. So Tom, we've made it to summertime. We're here in June, and it just seems to be more active this summer than probably any summer I can remember in recent history. We've got another Fed meeting coming up this week, and we've got some geopolitical things to take into account. How are you guiding municipal investors in the current environment? And given the recent shifts in the interest rate expectations, where are you sending people now?
So it is a gross understatement to say that there's a lot going on right now. I wrote a piece last week talking about the chaos, and that was even before the escalation of what's been happening in the Middle East and the other kind of political events that have been occurring domestically, right? So there is a lot going on, and like we've talked about before, the Fed is going to be meeting. There could be some impact to inflation with regard to energy prices, right? So folks are really keying in on whether or not the Fed is going to maybe give some guidance that says that they're going to potentially hold back with regard to dropping interest rates. That being said, as I'm thinking about where interest rates were in the beginning to the middle of April, and that window of opportunity that we saw for municipal yields, it was wide open. Now, it closed a little bit, and I know that it sounds a little more like Groundhog Day than anything because I keep coming and talking to you about these attractive yields, but yields are still attractive. Right. And what this increase in uncertainty means is that window could stay open a little longer, which is okay. Right. That gives our investors an opportunity to take advantage of those yields.
So you mentioned it. You used the word chaos. I was going to say recent market volatility.
Oh, it's chaos.
But we can go with both of those.
Yeah.
You also mentioned that now investors can afford to maybe be a little bit more selective.
Yeah.
Can you expand on that a little bit and kind of where are you taking them right now?
So there are two things that I want to talk about where that's concerned. The big thing where municipal credit is concerned, especially because a lot of that federal aid has either rolled off or starting to roll off or has been used. And so a lot of municipal credits, a lot of state and local governments, other public entities right now are starting to kind of get back to a more normal situation where they've got to budget their revenues and expenditures. I'm calling that the normalization of municipal credit, right? So that's the big picture issue that a lot of folks are going to have to be looking at. But there's also a lot of, because of this chaos, because of things that are happening with the climate, because of things that are happening with regard to the political situation, there are some things that people need to be paying attention to, but there's also a lot of noise out there. And one of the other big messages that I wanted to share with investors and the folks that are watching is not to overreact to the overly political noise that's out there, right? There are some fundamental things that we need to look out for, but we don't want to overreact to the overly political noise that's out there.
Okay, so what you're saying is, going back a year, you talked about generationally attractive yields. The yields are still there, the opportunities are still there, but like we said, things can change quickly.
Not only can things change quickly, what I'm concerned about where yields are concerned is that I still remember the beginning of 2024, there were dozens of investors that I spoke to who yields rose at the end of 23, and the way that I think about it is they felt like they were standing at the end of the dock or at the end of the pier and the ship had already left. Right. The ship is at the pier now. Right. The ship is here. Don't feel like some of those folks who I was talking to in the beginning of 2024 where the ship has left. The ship is still here right now.
Okay, so that's it for today. The opportunities are out there, and thank you for joining us on the Muni Minute.